Hey guys, I'm Quinn Bradshaw. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be covering my favorite fishing app, that is Navionics. This is a terrific app to have on your mobile device. It will help you get a better understanding of the body of water that you're fishing, whether it's a lake or the salt water. All over the world, they have your area covered. So with that being said, let's get to it. Here I have Cedar Creek Lake, southeast of Dallas. This is a lake we occasionally fish. If you start off, you can zoom in. You'll notice there's pretty good detail, a lot of contour maps. There's some public spots that have been shared on here. You get a good marking of the river channel and all that. The more you zoomed in, the more detailed it gets. What I like to do when I first download the app, which is free until you start purchasing other upgrades in it, go to menu. You can start here. Markers. This will give you a list of waypoints that you saved on here. Go back. Charts and upgrades, you can hit that to go to the the App Store to download some more. But anyways, you can see here, I have the US and Canada going. There's some others. You can add regions. Like I said, it's all over the world. You just hit on this. If you want Europe, it's going to cost you $38.99 US dollars a year. You get 1 year subscription and then you have to renew it. Okay, so go back one more time. Download maps, save for offline use. One thing I like about Navionics is it allows you, as long as your GPS is running, you can see your location and position on here. So let's say in a lake, it's not a big deal, but if you're offshore fishing, you can actually see some of the bottom structure with the sonar mapping and shading relief on here. I'll show you how to get to that. Map options, you have your different choices. Here's your sonar chart. It's already very detailed. Going back to what I was saying about when you zoom in on the lakes, but saltwater gets a lot more detail when you click on this. And then here's your sonar chart shading and your relief shading. These are only available in certain lakes. I'll give you an example here. Relief shading, Cedar Creek has this. You can see it goes into super deep detail. I'll go ahead and close that. Where, along the shoreline it's red, the deeper you go it gets blue and purplish, but it just shows you really accurate readings on depth. And say here's the main creek channel that goes through the lake. You can get a better idea of some of the humps and shallow areas where you might want to target fish. They might, the hybrids and sand bass might be running bait fish up onto these humps during the warmer months or whatever. You can click on some of these spots, fishing, diving. These are publicly shared numbers. They'll help you a lot if you're trying to figure out a new lake. Right here, select a location. Those are your coordinates. You can take those once you get to your boat. You can either take this on your phone or iPad, or you can just plug it into your fish finder. And these also, Navionics does make chips to use for the lakes and saltwater applications. So anyways, this will give you the option to boat to, or you can hit the marker. This will bring up a series of icons that you can use to mark that for later use. Also the weather in the area, you can tap that. They partner with Weather Channel, so very concise, detailed information here. Typical pressure, sunrise, sunset, wind direction and wind speed. Once you get in the salt water, you start dealing with the tides, buoys, all that good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and go back to the menu, and that's pretty much all I'm really going to be using for this. There's different settings in here, but that's not important right now. But that just gives you a very incredibly detailed view of the lake, different structures, whether it's shallow or deep. Could be good. I like to go over here. I would see this spot where you have two creek channels converging in the warmer months as, say, blue cats go a little bit deeper, or in the winter time, they'll frequent this deeper water. That would be a spot of interest for me to want to go hit later. So I could just do this, hit that, nice and easy, mark it, do dot, edit it, type what you want, save. There you go. And you go back when you finally get on the lake after working all week. You kind of have an idea where you want to go. And that's the biggest reason why I have this on my mobile devices. I can plan a trip a lot better, because when I get to my boat, I'll have an Navionics chip in my fish finder, and I don't necessarily have a big need for this unless you want to use it as a secondary screen. That's what I like to do. I will bring this along with me, offshore trips and all that. You get an extra screen on the boat, just makes it nice and easy. One other feature I like, you can go to a route, I'll say a manual route. They'll show you different icons and stuff along here. They'll tell you where all the boat ramps are, where there are certain markers. There's outlines of boat docks and all that. If you're going crappie fishing or whatever, you want to go shoot boat docks, you can see what part of the lakes have a bunch of boat docks. That's nothing special. You could do that with Google Earth, but just a nice little feature. So if I'm in a motor vessel, this wouldn't be a big issue for me. But if I'm kayaking, I could kind of figure out how far away my spots are. So you can hold here on that boat ramp, and let's say I want to go out here and fish. Just hold that down. Get your sidebar out. It'll show you. That's only 0.2 nautical miles. Like I said, if you're in a boat with a motor on it, that's not far. That takes 2 minutes, if that. But if you're kayaking, it gives you a lot better idea how far of a trip you need to go. You can also map out, let's say you got a finite amount of fuel, you got a smaller boat, 6 gallons of gas, so you kind of have to be mindful if you're going to be running around all day. Say you want to go hit that spot, then you want to come over here, check out these ledges or something, you just keep adding to it. You can also do your boat settings. So this will tell you, you got a power boat, length, 16 foot, beam, whatever, cruising speeds, and then your fuel consumption. So then, once you put all that information in, and that's not going to be exact because wind, waves, all that's going to have a big effect, but it kind of gives you an idea. You can put how much gas you have in there, get an idea of your range. If you want to plan out a big trip all day, like I said, works out really well. Hit cancel. But I'll give you an example. This relief shading isn't available in every single lake. And I'll show you right now. I'm going to go to a neighboring lake, Richland Chambers. This is also a lake that we frequent. You still have the very detailed contour lines and what have you. But when I zoom in, I don't get the relief shading. I would assume down the road that'll probably come along. But I still get a really good idea of the creek channels and drop-offs and humps out here. This is the 309 area. There's some flats and rises in this area that's good for sand bass or what have you. Get a pretty good idea of the depth there. And another thing, in Texas, you can go down here, your map options. As we get through the summer, we don't get a whole lot of rain. And so one issue, when the lakes start to drop, like Richland Chambers provides water to 1 million people in the Dallas area, Tarrant County. So when you're not getting any rain, natural evaporation, and then also you have cities sucking the water out, the lake might be down 4, 5, 6, 10 feet even. So you can go here, you can adjust water depth. You go Google online, Richland Chambers water level. So this will show you, and you'll notice that change. This was all water, but now that it knows that the water level is down 11 feet, it's going to tell you where land now is. Same thing with shallow area. When we go bow fishing, let's turn that back to 0. So now that disappears. So let's say we're going to go bow fishing to a lake. I can come in here, shallow area. Typically when we're bow fishing, you want it shallow. Typically where the fish are going to congregate at night. So I can just go out to 3 feet. Now with the lake that has the relief shading, anywhere it's dark red, it's pretty shallow. So you can just stick with that. But out here, now it's going to give you a series of dots to let you know, or to note that the water level's 3 foot or less. So if I'm bow fishing, I want to go look around the lake for areas that's going to be more shallow than surrounding areas. We'll go over here. And one thing too, when I'm bow fishing, you know, especially at night, I don't really like to bow fish anywhere there's a lot of heavy people presence, a lot of boat docks and all that, just because you're dodging stuff constantly. And there's plenty of Karens out there that'll get on to you for messing up their crappie hole or whatever. But anyways, you go in here, just a few boat docks, shallow water, might be a place of interest. Depth contours, you want them all, gives you more detail. Sonar chart density, very high, again, gives you more detail. Seabed, whatever. Active captain community, I believe, just allows you to share your spots and stuff, which if you got friends like mine, you don't want to share them their spots, so go out there and potluck that stuff all day. I'm sure there's some other people out here that can relate. So anyways, I'm going to zoom out. Now I'm going to go down to the coast. We do a lot of offshore fishing when the weather allows it. You can see here I have all my spots, whatever. We typically go out of Matagorda. The thing about Texas is there's not a lot of contour lines. It's a gradual drop off here. So I can zoom in. My relief shade is going to come back on. So I'll zoom out a little bit. Go down here off the continental shelf. Popular area to fish. Hilltops for deep dropping and all that good stuff. You can see it's very detailed, lots of different crevices. One thing to note, this may not be 100% exact. So if I come over here and I'm looking for a new area to fish, if I'm gonna fish this particular spot right here, I gotta keep in mind that it might be 1,000 feet over here, or it might be 0.25 miles away. I mean, you just wanna be, like I said, this is a good reference, not exact. You're definitely gonna wanna have your fish finder tuned down on the bottom, whether you're using Simrad, Garmin, whatever. Get you a good transducer for out this deep. But that's just an example, the great detail in here. There's some other companies out there, Seymour Maps and Strike Line and all that, does a good job. You can plug and play, pop the chip into your computer, or excuse me, your fish finder. Get some really good detail out of that too. But this, like I said, when I'm sitting at home in the evening planning a trip, that's what I like to do. Just like to look at new stuff and kind of have all my spots on here. That way I can make planning a trip easier. I'll get the weather and currents in advance. That way, you know, if the wind's coming out of the southwest, I can go southeast, or I can head right into the waves, whatever. Maybe if I quarter the waves, just going a little bit south, I'll get a more comfortable ride. So I might want to target that area. Here's your current, your weather, like I was showing you earlier. But one other thing too I like to do, as I'm planning these trips, if you're going to make a float plan with your family or loved ones, this is also a really good way to kind of show them the area you're going to be in, how far you plan on traveling. Let's say I'm going to run out here to these breaks. So now they're going to know, you know, I'm going to say I'm going to go out here, I'm going to troll, deep drop, what have you. They're going to know how far I'm traveling, kind of an area to look. Obviously, if you say you're going to go to these breaks and you change your mind and you go 25 miles out of the way, it's irrelevant. But if you stick to the plan, say, well, I'm going to go to these breaks, I'm going to go over here and hit this spot. This is how far I'm traveling, you know. This is when I plan being back in. If anything happens to you, and hope to God it doesn't, but now you kind of have a good idea where you're going to be, where you're traveling, how long it might take, and you can screenshot this, pair it along with some coordinates, and send it to a loved one. That way you have a good float plan. Never hurts being redundant with safety, especially when you're traveling offshore. But with that being said, those are the reasons why I really enjoy this app. There's a lot more to it that, you know, once you download it, you'll figure it out. It's very simple, good functionality, but there's a few more other things in here that I might be forgetting to cover that, you know, as you play with it, spend some time on it, you'll learn it. But anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe. You know, hopefully we're going to get out here, hit some of these spots, catch some nice fish for y'all to enjoy. But anyways, till next time, thanks again for watching our videos. We appreciate it.